The galaxy had forgotten Earth. Centuries had passed since the last human distress call. The alien empires believed that humanity had burned itself out in its final wars. They saw the blue planet as a dead world, silent, empty, and cold, but silence can be dangerous. Sometimes it means something is waiting. Above the ruined orbit of Mars, the Vrax Dominion fleet drifted in perfect formation. Their silver ships glittered like blades in the sunlight. Admiral Takar of the Vrax looked down at the planet below with a proud smile. "Once again," he said to his crew, "we prove that the Vrax rule all that remains. Even Earth's ghost has no voice left." A younger officer hesitated. "Admiral, there are strange signals coming from the third planet. It is faint, but it repeats. Static," Takar replied. "Ignore it. Earth is dust." Still, the signal pulsed, steady, rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat. Deep under Earth's crust, something old had awakened. Buried machines hummed to life after hundreds of years of silence. Beneath the ancient cities, humans stirred. The Vrax scout ship Spearwind was the first to notice. Its captain, a curious officer named Velo, leaned over his console. "Sir," he called to his crew, "I am reading heat signatures near the old continent of North America. It cannot be volcanic. The temperature changes too fast." Another officer frowned. "Could it be a reactor?" "There are no living civilizations left there." Velo zoomed the view. A flash of red light blinked once from the ground, then vanished. His scales tightened in fear. "That was not random," he said quietly. "That was a pattern," his second officer laughed. "You think ghosts of humans are waving at you?" But the laughter faded when the ship's systems flickered. A sound filled the cabin, a deep tone, low and cold. The comms cracked with static, and then a voice came through. "It was human. We warned you to leave us alone." The transmission lasted 2 seconds before the Spearwind vanished from every radar. One moment it was there, and the next it was gone. No explosion, no wreckage, only silence. Across the Vrax fleet, confusion spread. The officers shouted into their comms, searching for signals. "The Spearwind has gone dark," someone yelled. It simply disappeared. Admiral Takar leaned forward, his claws tapping the console. "A malfunction," he said sharply. "Do not panic," but even he could not ignore what came next. The same voice repeated on every ship, through every frequency. "We warned you to leave us alone." Then silence again. On board the flagship Dominance, a technician trembled. "Admiral, the message—" It did not come from the ship. It came from Earth itself. Takar's smile faded. "Impossible! The planet has no power sources left." The technician turned the screen toward him. "Then explain this." The map of Earth showed hundreds of faint signals pulsing all over the planet's surface, underground bases, power surges, and shifting magnetic fields. It looked like the entire planet was breathing. Takar's voice dropped. "Order the fleet to scan again. I want confirmation." As the scanners swept Earth, the results stunned everyone. Deep under the crust, near the ruins of what was once North America, thousands of reactors were activating. Artificial cores burned to life, old satellites reconnected, and in orbit, long-dead defense stations turned their weapons toward the sky. The Vrax officers stared in disbelief. "That is impossible," one whispered. "Those systems are human technology. Outdated, ancient." Takar's eyes narrowed. "And yet they live." Far below, in the hollow remains of an underground city, the first human in centuries opened her eyes. Commander Rhea Cole lay inside a cryopod that had kept her alive for 200 years. The machine released a hiss of cold air as she sat up, breathing hard. Around her, hundreds of pods began to open, revealing other humans, soldiers, engineers, scientists. The old world was gone, but humanity had not perished. It had waited. "Status report," Rhea whispered. Her voice was weak but steady. A robotic voice answered from the speakers, calm and deep. "World Mind Online. Human survival rate 73%. Mission priority, restoration of the Earth Defense Network." Rhea stepped out of her pod. "Then let us begin." Above, the Vrax fleet watched as strange energy waves formed across the planet. The light from Earth's surface began to shift, spreading patterns of gold and white that moved like veins. It looked alive, Admiral Takar felt unease in his chest. "Pull the fleet back," he ordered. Something is wrong, but it was already too late. From orbit, the aliens saw the continents flicker with light. It was not fire or explosion. It was the activation of something ancient. One by one, massive towers broke through the ground. They were silent and dark, but power radiated from them like heat from a star. "Admiral!" shouted a crew member. "Those are weapons platforms." Takar's voice rose in disbelief. "Impossible! No species could maintain that for centuries." A sudden burst of static hit their senses again. The same cold human voice echoed through the ships. "You were warned." A blinding flash spread across the fleet. No missiles, no projectiles, only pure energy. The first row of Vrax ships dissolved in light, their metal turning to dust in seconds. The others panicked and broke formation, but the same fate met them all. When the light faded, the orbit of Mars was filled with debris, shattered hulls, drifting corpses and silence. On Earth, Rhea watched the screens in the command chamber. The orbital defense network had performed perfectly. "Targets eliminated," said WorldMind. Rhea looked up at the old flag of Earth hanging above her. It was torn and faded, but still there. "They never listened," she said softly. "Now they will remember." In the deep of space, alien communications flickered across the galaxy. Reports poured in. Entire fleets gone silent near Earth. No survivors, no transmissions. The galactic councils met in fear, whispering one question: what had humanity become? The sky above Earth burned with falling metal. Pieces of the Vrax fleet rained down through the clouds, lighting the atmosphere in long streaks of orange. The world that had slept for centuries was alive again. In the underground command city, called Aegis 9, the lights flickered as the ancient power grid surged back to life. Miles of steel tunnels echoed with the sound of footsteps. Real footsteps. Human footsteps, for the first time in hundreds of years. Commander Rhea Cole walked through the main control hall, surrounded by holographic screens that showed maps of the planet, orbital positions, and energy readings. She looked tired but strong, her grey eyes glowing under the pale light. "WorldMind," she said. "Status report on our people." The AI's calm voice filled the hall. "Cryopods revived, 18412 humans. Additional life signs detected in other shelters. Approximately 93,000. Atmospheric conditions stable. Earth's surface remains toxic in 37% of zones, but recovery has begun." Rhea exhaled slowly. "Oh, we are alive," she whispered. For the first time in centuries, those words were true. The echo of the past in the lower levels, old soldiers gathered near massive hangar doors. They wore patched suits marked with faded flags, remnants of once great nations. Their commander, Captain Malik Grant, smiled as he saw Rhea walk in. "Still giving orders, ma'am," he said. "Still following them, Malik." She replied with a faint smile. They both looked at the huge machines resting in the shadows. Black armored giants, silent but waiting. Terran exoframes, massive combat suits built long ago before the fall. Malik reached out, brushing dust off one of them. "Never thought I'd see these again," he muttered. "They survived because we hid them well," Rhea said. "We built deep enough that time could not touch us." At her command, the hangar's power conduits lit up. Blue energy ran through the floor, climbing the legs of the machines like veins filling with blood. One by one, their eyes glowed, a cold white light piercing the dark. All around Aegis 9, humans woke to a new dawn. Generators roared. Old robots repaired walls. Children who had grown up in cryo-shelters saw the surface of the Earth for the first time. Green fields slowly returning, sky once again blue after centuries of pollution. They did not cheer loudly. They only looked upward, silent and proud. They knew this was not victory. It was survival. The first transmission far above the planet, the wreckage of the Vrax fleet drifted quietly. Among the debris, a single damaged probe managed to send one last signal before it died. That signal reached the Vrax homeworld 3 days later. The Alien Council watched the footage in disbelief. It showed flashes of light, ships disintegrating in seconds, massive towers rising from the ground, and then static. The last frame showed Earth glowing faintly like a sleeping sun. "This cannot be possible," one of the counselors said. "Humanity destroyed itself," another voice answered, trembling. "Perhaps it evolved." While the galaxy argued, Earth worked. The WorldMind AI linked with the orbital stations again. Each platform began to repair itself, using nanotech stored in the Earth's crust. The humans didn't just restore old weapons, they improved them. In the control chamber, Rhea stood before a glowing display showing the solar system. "We need eyes beyond our skies," she said. "Reactivate the deep space relay," Malik frowned. "Ma'am, the last time we used that, it drew every alien race to our doorstep." "Good," Rhea replied. "Let them see we still exist." With a single command, a beam of white light burst from the moon's surface. It shot outward past Mars, past Jupiter, and across the black sea of space. A signal carrying one simple message: "This is Earth. We are alive." The message echoed across the galaxy, bouncing off satellites and forgotten networks. Some called it madness. Others called it suicide. But to humans, it was a declaration, a promise that they would never hide again. The flame-rekindled days turned into weeks. Across the ruined continents, more underground shelters opened. Survivors came out wearing protective suits, carrying old flags, and rebuilding fallen cities. The skies cleared as automated drones removed centuries of dust. Rivers ran clean again. Forests began to grow where deserts had been. In Aegis 9, Malik and his team tested the first space vessel built by the reborn Earth Defense Network, a sleek craft named Vigil 1. Its engines glowed faintly blue. "It feels like a dream," Malik said as he sat in the pilot's seat. "It's more than a dream," Rhea replied over the comms. "It's a warning." The ship lifted from its cradle and rose through the tunnels, breaking through the surface into open air. Sunlight touched its hull for the first time in centuries. The ship climbed higher, faster, until it pierced the clouds and saw the stars. "Vigil 1 to command," Malik said softly. "We're home." From space, he looked down at Earth. The planet shone with a soft silver glow, its scars fading. Yet in that beauty, there was something fierce, something that told the galaxy that this world would never kneel again. The shadows, watching. But the galaxy was already watching. On distant worlds, alien empires studied the transmission. Some felt fear, others felt anger. The Vrax Dominion prepared another fleet, larger, stronger, built for revenge. But even as they armed their ships, their spies reported something strange. "Admiral," said a Vrax scout leader, "our sensors detect new anomalies on Earth, massive structures forming on every continent. Energy signatures unlike anything we've seen." "What kind of energy?" the Admiral demanded. "Graviton-based, but more stable, controlled, as if the humans are rewriting physics." The Admiral hesitated, his scales tightening. "That is impossible," yet even he could not deny the truth. Across Earth, the ancient forges built during humanity's golden age had come alive again. The Titan forges. Machines that could shape metal using gravitational fields. Machines that built weapons capable of tearing stars apart. Deep underground, Rhea stood before the glowing core of one of those forges. The air shimmered with heat and light. She reached out her hand and touched the surface, whispering, "We are not fighting for revenge. We are fighting to be remembered." The WorldMind responded, "And then let the galaxy remember." And somewhere far away among the stars, the first alien probe picked up Earth's signal and sent a message back to its masters. "The humans have awakened, and they are not the same." Across the stars, whispers spread like wildfire. The impossible had happened. Earth, the dead world, the forgotten world, had answered back. For centuries, alien historians had written that humanity was extinct. But now, their reports were burning. New transmissions told of light weapons that melted fleets and cities that rose from the ashes. Entire systems froze their trade routes, terrified to move near the Sol sector. In the Vrax Dominion, chaos spread through the command halls. Admirals shouted over one another as the Supreme Commander entered the chamber. His dark armor shimmered with scales, his eyes cold. "Enough," he said. "One fleet vanished. That does not make them gods." A younger officer spoke nervously. "But, my lord, our probes show activity across the entire planet. Towers, shields, even orbital weapons. Then we will crush them again," the commander hissed. "If Earth wants war, we will bring it." He didn't notice how quiet the room had become. Even his own soldiers no longer looked sure. The return of the Iron Saints back on Earth, Admiral Rhea Cole stood on the platform of the Iron Saint, the first human dreadnought built in centuries. It floated above the Pacific Ocean, a black spear of metal longer than a mountain, powered by the planet's own magnetic core. The ship hummed with new life. Its hull shimmered with reflective armor that bent light, making it almost invisible. Dozens of smaller ships circled around it, sleek vessels with names from old myths: Vigil, Erebus, Solaris. Echo humanity had returned to the stars, but this time they were ready. Rhea looked out at the horizon where the ocean met the sky. "For too long," she said quietly, "we hid under our own soil, afraid to breathe. Now let them come. Let them see what we became." Malik stood beside her, wearing a pilot's suit marked with Earth's crest. "And if they do not come?" She turned to him with a faint smile. "Then we go to them." Above them, the fleet engines roared to life, shaking the clouds. Birds scattered from the surface as water turned to mist. The reborn human defense armada began its ascent. Slow, powerful, unstoppable. The galaxy watches news of Earth's movement reached the outer empires in hours. Alien leaders watched their screens in disbelief as human warships left orbit in perfect formation. In the council chambers of the Keltan Empire, the ministers argued. "They should not have survived," one said. "They should not have evolved," said another. "They will destroy us all," whispered a third. Across thousands of systems, propaganda collapsed. For ages, the aliens had taught their children that humans were violent, weak, and self-destructive. But the truth now stood above Earth, steel wings of vengeance and unity. The galaxy trembled not because of war, but because of what it meant. Humans had rebuilt themselves without anyone's help. They had done it alone. The message from Earth, when the Iron Saint fleet reached Mars orbit. Admiral Rhea opened a galaxy-wide transmission. The image appeared across every major network. Alien soldiers, traders, and citizens all froze to watch. Her face was calm, her uniform dark and plain. Behind her, Earth shone in the distance, bright, whole, and alive. "This is Admiral Rhea Cole of Earth Command," she said slowly. "For centuries you hunted us. You burned our cities, stole our skies, and called us extinct. But we are still here. We rebuilt in your shadow. We watched while you forgot. And now you will remember." Her voice was cold but not cruel. It carried a quiet strength, the kind that made even alien generals fall silent. "We seek no empire," she continued. "We seek no slaves. We only seek peace through strength. If you cross our skies again, you will not return." Then the broadcast ended. Across the galaxy the signal faded, but the fear remained. Entire planets held their breath. For the first time in centuries, no one dared speak the name Earth out loud. The fire in the sky. The silence didn't last. Within a week, the Vrax Dominion sent its second invasion fleet. Over 2,000 ships, led by their strongest admiral, Vorkan the Unbroken. His fleet was so large that it covered half the stars near Jupiter. Rhea and Malik stood on the command deck of the Iron Saint as the screens filled with red dots. "They are coming," Malik said quietly. Rhea's lips curved into a thin smile. "Good. Let us test what we have built." The World Mind AI pulsed across the communication lines, its voice deep and steady. "Targeting ready. Defense grid online. Quantum weapons charged." Rhea raised her hand. "Fire!" The void lit up. From Earth's orbit, the human fleet unleashed a storm of light. Their new weapons, graviton lances, did not fire missiles or lasers. They twisted gravity itself, folding the space around the enemy ships until they crushed under their own weight. Alien captains screamed into their comms. Ships collapsed into glowing spheres, vanishing in bursts of light. In minutes, half of the Virax fleet was gone. Those who survived tried to flee, but found themselves trapped. The space around them had changed, warped by human technology that no one else understood. Rhea whispered, No one escapes home. The quiet. After when the battle ended, there was no cheering. There was only silence. The stars themselves seemed dimmer. The wreckage of thousands of ships drifted in the Black Sea, glowing faintly from heat. Earth's fleet remained in perfect formation, engines low, weapons silent. In the command chamber, Malik sat in stunned silence. We ended them. Rhea did not answer for a long time. She simply watched the stars, her face unreadable. Finally, she said softly, "No, we reminded them." She turned to Worldmind. "Send recovery drones. Rescue what we can. Even our enemies deserve to be buried." The AI hesitated. "Mercy is inefficient. Mercy," she said, "is human." The ships moved again, slow and solemn, gathering the broken remains of their enemies. The war was over before it truly began. The galaxy had witnessed Earth's return, and nothing would ever be the same again. In the far distance, across 1,000 systems, children looked up at their skies. They saw new stars, bright signals flashing across the darkness. Some asked their parents what they meant. The parents whispered quietly, almost afraid to answer. It means, the humans are awake. And in every corner of the galaxy, leaders, merchants, and soldiers made the same decision: to stay silent, to stay far from Sul, and to never again test the patience of Earth. The war ended not with a scream, but with silence. For the first time in centuries, no fleets moved near Earth. No ships dared to enter the Sol system. Even the pirate signals, usually loud and chaotic across galactic channels, went quiet. Every species, from the proud Vrax Dominion to the distant Keltan traders, erased Earth's coordinates from their maps. In every alien academy, teachers spoke carefully. They no longer called humanity extinct. They called them something else, the sleeping giants of Sol, the weight of victory high above the clouds. The human flagship Iron Saint drifted in low orbit. Its engines pulsed softly, keeping steady above the blue world below. Inside the command chamber, Admiral Rhea Cole stood alone, her reflection floating in the glass walls that looked out toward Earth. The planet glowed softly in the darkness, full of light and life. Forests had begun to return. The oceans, once poisoned, shimmered like liquid mirrors. Cities slowly awakened, their lights flickering across continents like fireflies. But Rhea's eyes were not on the beauty. They were on the silence. Behind her the doors opened, and Captain Malik Grant entered quietly. His uniform was torn, his face marked with exhaustion. He saluted. "The fleet is stable. Casualties are minimal," Rhea nodded, her voice low. "And the galaxy?" "Listening," Malik said. "But no one is answering." For a long time they stood there, two soldiers staring down at the world they had saved and the universe they had silenced. Rhea finally spoke. "It feels empty, doesn't it?" Malik frowned. "Empty. Victory," she said softly. "It always feels like this." The voice of the dead deep within the ship, the Worldmind AI, continued its endless calculations. Its voice echoed through the command network, steady and cold. "Analysis complete," it said. "Hostile activity across the galaxy reduced by 97%. All borders near Sol are abandoned. Communication networks show patterns of fear." Rhea walked to the central console. "Fear will fade," she said. "They will come again," the AI's voice hummed. "Then we will destroy them again." "No," she said. "We will build." The AI paused for the first time in a long while. "Build what?" Rhea looked out at the stars. "Hope." For the next months, Earth changed faster than anyone believed possible. Entire cities rose again from the old ruins. Solar fields stretched across deserts. Sky bridges connected continents. People from the deep shelters came out and breathed open air for the first time. The world had scars, but those scars were beautiful, reminders that even death could not erase humanity. Yet, somewhere beyond the stars, not everyone celebrated. The whisper of the stars on the Vrax home world. Silence ruled the imperial court. Their supreme commander sat in darkness, surrounded by his surviving generals. None dared to speak. Finally, the commander looked up at the star map of the galaxy. His voice shook. One world defeated 2,000 ships. One world destroyed our future. Tell me, what are they? No one answered. In another system, far beyond the Varak's reach, the scholars of the Lurian Order began writing a new book, the Chronicles of Earth. They wrote of humanity as a species that rose from ashes, that fought against extinction itself. And one scholar asked, will they conquer us next? The elder shook his head. No, they will not need to. Their silence conquers more than their weapons ever could. Legends of soul years passed, and stories began to spread like wind. Some said they had seen human ships beyond the edge of known space, black vessels that appeared without sound and vanished just as fast. Some said humans were rebuilding lost colonies on forgotten worlds. Others whispered that the humans had found something even greater, a way to merge their minds with stars themselves. Whether true or not, no one wanted to find out. Children of alien empires were taught not to travel near Sol. They were told stories at bedtime about humans, not as monsters, but as warnings. Do not wake the Earth, their parents whispered, for the Earth never forgets. The Promise. Inside Aegis 9, now the heart of the new Earth Republic, Rhea stood before a crowd of humans, soldiers, engineers, scientists, and children. Above them hung the old Earth flag, restored and bright again. She spoke with calm strength, her voice carried across every city and every ship. We do not rule the stars, she said. We protect them. We will not repeat the mistakes of the past. The galaxy trembled at our fire. Now it must learn from our peace. The crowd listened in silence. Many had lost families in the cryo-centuries. Many still feared what humanity could become. But in that moment, hope returned, real and alive. Rhea ended her speech with the same words she had spoken when she awoke from her cryopod. We are alive, and we will stay that way. The new dawn from the orbiting stations, the night side of Earth looked like a heartbeat, pulses of golden light flowing through continents. The world itself seemed alive, watching, breathing, waiting. In the deep reaches of space, alien probes still scanned the system, but never came close. Every probe that crossed the invisible line near Neptune simply vanished, never to be found again. No one knew how. Some said humans had created a shield that folded space itself. Others said the planet's soul defended it, and yet humanity did not hide. They sent out a new signal, calm, not angry this time. A message to the galaxy. We do not seek war. We seek respect. The stars belong to everyone. But do not mistake kindness for weakness. For weeks, the galaxy stayed silent. No replies came. But somewhere far away, on a lonely moon orbiting a red star, a single alien scientist played the message again and again. He whispered softly, almost to himself, maybe. They were right to fight. The quiet legacy many decades later, alien travelers near the edge of Sol reported seeing something strange, a colossal structure orbiting Earth, shaped like a ring of silver light. It glowed softly, reflecting the planet's blue hue. On its surface were words written in human and alien language alike. Here sleeps the world that refused to die. No one ever tried to attack again. No one dared. And so the galaxy moved on, carrying the legend of the species that rose from its grave and taught the stars the meaning of fear, mercy, and strength. They called it the silence of Earth, but the humans simply called it home.